Have you ever played a level so confusing you had no idea what to do? You look up a walkthrough online but don't have a clue where you are in the level. You have no idea what you need to do next and it's driving you crazy. We've all been there, which is why we've composed this list of 10 video game levels that we all got lost in. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all of our awesome videos and click that bell to become part of our notification squad. Tomb Raider Gold, the Atlantean Stronghold. Part of the reason why this level is impossible unless you take the shortcut is because everything looks exactly the same. It's incredibly easy to lose track of where you are in the Atlantean Stronghold. Also, the lava challenges are pretty ridiculous themselves. Tomb Raider Gold was pretty much just an expansion pack of the original Tomb Raider, and it's fair to say the controls on the game were far from polished. Trying to jump over lava pits with these janky controls is no bueno. The later Tomb Raider games got their controls down pat and improved on the physics and other issues present in the original. To be fair, Tomb Raider was one of the first 3D games to ever be released, so we can't expect perfection. But the novelty of 3D games certainly was one of the reasons why this level was so difficult. It was pretty much an unavoidable problem because everything new has its issues. Every time Apple releases a new iPhone, there's something everyone complains about immediately, like battery life, but a quick update can fix this issue. It's the same thing with video games. If you were playing this game again today, we would certainly recommend you take the shortcut. PLANESCAPE Torment, MODRON Maze. The MODRON maze was difficult enough just to get into, and once you're in the maze, it is even more difficult. It was the first procedurally generated area ever made using the Infinity engine. Like everything that is the first of its kind, you know it was bound to have its problems. It was not just the first procedurally generated area in PLANESCAPE Torment, but in every other iteration of PLANESCAPE ever created. The problems of the MODRON maze were more about confusion than a problem with the engine itself. Luckily, there kind of were ways to get around the problems of the area, such as constantly going west to find Nordum's room. But it was still a randomly generated dungeon, which is completely foreign concept in a game. Rightfully, players were confused when everything they thought they knew about dungeon crawling was thrown out the window. That being said, PLANESCAPE Torment was a pretty tough game even when you know where you are going, so imagine how difficult it can be when you have no clue what the next room will be like. It's safe to say the MODRON maze is one of the most difficult dungeons in the game. Hey guys, we are very excited to announce the Premium Network. The Premium gets you early access to videos from The Richest, Screen Rant, The Taco, The Sportster, The Things, and many other great channels. Literally thousands of videos in one place with ad-free browsing. Check out the Premium by clicking this link. Sign up for free and start binge-watching videos from your favorite channels. Baldur's Gate, Thieves' Maze. The Thieves' Maze looked simple enough, but provided a pretty stiff challenge by disorienting you and making it feel like you have no clue what you are doing. There was also the Baldur's Gate AI pathfinding, which was an absolute disaster in a place full of twists and turns like the Thieves' Maze. Overall, Baldur's Gate was a great game, but the AI characters might have lacked some IQ to say the least. In a maze, you want to at least have characters who will give an effort, but not these characters. With these guys, you can forget about it. Everything that seems to be pretty easy becomes incredibly frustrating. Most of the Baldur's Gate community also agrees with the fact that the pathfinding is awful. A simple Google search will bring up a ton of fun-to-read complaints. Even if the pathfinding was perfect, it would still be an incredibly difficult maze. Everything is so confusing and looks the same. The maze was late in the game, so the developers made sure it was no joke, and if you wanted to get to the Undercity, it was a must to complete. The Thieves' Maze was the video game equivalent of a nightmare. Dark Souls, The Depths. Like a lot of areas in the gloomy atmosphere of Dark Souls, the depths do not have many landmarks. You are never truly sure if you have been in an area before or not. It's just dark and full of sewer rats and boxes everywhere you look. It's just an awfully confusing environment. On top of all of that, pretty much every enemy in the area can poison you or curse you. The rats may just look like regular giant sewer rats, but they are hyper-poisonous giant sewer rats. The Depths is such a long area with plenty of space between bonfires, so you can't just run through the level like a chicken with its head cut off. Make sure you have some Mountain Dew and Doritos with you because you are going to be there a while. You have to be very patient as you rack up the hours playing this level. You may be tempted to make a run for it, but it's just not worth it. If you consider yourself a very patient person, you might reconsider that thought after playing through this level. This level should be the new measure to test someone's patience. The Elder Scrolls 3: Morrowind, VIVEC City. VIVEC City wasn't even designed to be a maze, but it sure as hell turned out to be one. It is a beautiful city to look at. In fact, it looks exactly like the backgrounds you may see in a Sonic level. Very symmetrical and similar. The problem is you actually have to traverse through this incredibly large city. It's not just a gorgeous backdrop, you can actually interact with this city. The city is made up of islands connected by bridges, but everything looks the same and there are no major landmarks. It's not like one island has green houses and one island has orange houses. They're all boring light brown and blend in with each other. Looking for someone to sell an item to is the opposite of fun. You have to traverse island after island just to hope you find a merchant. It should be as simple as looking for an anvil sign to find a blacksmith. You shouldn't need to take a tour of VIVEC City just to locate one. A blacksmith, or if it wasn't for objective waypoints, this would be the most frustrating city in video game history. It seems like Bethesda may not have thought things through full when they came up with the design for VIVEC City. Silent Hill 2 Woodside Apartments. The Woodside Apartments are a series of rooms you have to use a map to navigate around because, like most levels in this list, everything looks exactly the same. The difference with this game is the rooms look incredibly similar on purpose. Things are not similar due to the limitations of the game, not at all. It's just to set the Silent Hill atmosphere we're all accustomed to seeing. Silent Hill can get pretty creepy at times, and there's not much scarier than walking around a haunted apartment where everything looks similar. To be honest, that's just the way apartments are built in general. The carpets, doors, and wall colors are generally the same on each floor. The narrow halls of the apartment make you tremble in fear as you traverse the area. In the Woodside Apartments, you may walk into a room thinking you've already been there, and boom, there's a jump scare and you've thrown your controller across the room in fear. The level is actually pretty well done. It's just very confusing and scary. Confused and scared are two emotions most of us do not ever want to feel together. Let's just say this level is a little disorienting. Monkey Island 2 Final Area. In the final area of Monkey Island 2, you are trapped in an abandoned theme park. There's a bunch of different areas and you have to avoid LeChuck all the time. The first few rooms you just have no idea what to do. You keep walking and can't get rid of the annoying monkey pirate known as LeChuck. You decide to go in a different direction and he's still there. Up, down, left, right, no matter what you do, you simply can't get rid of this guy. He knows exactly where you're going to be before you even decide to make a move. It's like playing against a master chess player who literally has an answer for every single move you make. You start to question what you're doing wrong, but it's most likely nothing at all. You just have to stick to it and you'll find a way to get out of the theme park and away from LeChuck. Most people just give up after they get nowhere for a few hours, and I don't blame them. That being said, if you got this far into Monkey Island 2, why not finish the whole game? It's the final area anyway, it's not supposed to be easy. Dark Souls BLIGHTTOWN. BLIGHTTOWN has the same problem as the other Dark Souls level we mentioned on this list. Everything looks similar. It's very dark, there's no landmarks, and there are annoying enemies all over the place. What sets BLIGHTTOWN apart from the depths is it will swarm players who are standing still with enemy upon enemy. There is no standing still in this level at all unless you're asking for a quick death. It is ridiculously tough to think when you are dealing with large groups of enemies all the time. Your mind is going a mile a minute while you are on this level. Just when you think you finally have a minute to breathe and think of your next move, there's an enemy charging at you in the distance. This level should be called Run and Slash because that's all you're gonna be doing. The area even has moving bridges, so it is really easy to lose your footing and fall to your doom. It's quite difficult to prepare for this level since it is much different from the other levels in Dark Souls, but just be prepared for a long gaming session. Calling this level hectic is one hell of an understatement. Halo Combat Evolved Library. If you really like open areas full of long hallways and large rooms that look exactly the last large room you were in, you're going to love the library level in Halo Combat Evolved. If you are like most people and don't enjoy these things, the level is pretty much a nightmare. The level literally feels like it was designed by amateurs. Maybe Bungie was testing out some new developers. If that was the case, I'm sure none of them got the job. It feels like everything was copy and pasted. The hallways look the same, the rooms look the same. This level is simply missing that Bungie polish and feels completely out of place. It's not that the level is difficult, well, maybe if you put it on Legendary you won't get through it. Either way, it's a long level with many different attacks in it, and there will be many long sighs followed by saying, is this level ever gonna finish? You feel more and more lost every minute you stay in this level. Sometimes you think you're backtracking, so you turn around, but you were going the right way the whole time. It's just not fun for anybody. The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time – Lost Woods. The Lost Woods is one of the most confusing video game levels to this day. To make your way through the woods, you have to follow the music, but nothing in the game tells you to do so. No old man pops out of the bushes saying, "Link, you must follow the sounds to reach the goal," or something of that nature. Most of us were barely even in our teens when we played the game for the first time, so our minds were certainly not at the peak of their sharpness. Most of us just kept walking through the stumps until we miraculously found the right combination. If we go through a stump and enter the next area, keep going. If the screen turns black, don't. That sounds simple enough, but can take hours upon hours of excruciatingly boring gameplay until you finally get to the end of the level. That being said, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time was one of the best games of all time. But does any game deserve a 10 out of 10 rating if it has obvious flaws? Nothing is perfect, and even though this game comes pretty darn close, we at The Gamer believe the game deserves a 9.5 out of 10 because of this incredibly convoluted level. Hopefully, you weren't stuck on any of these levels for so long you decided to give up on the game. Let us know of any really confusing levels in the comment section below. Hit the subscribe button to keep up to date with our awesome playlist. Thanks for watching.